What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gen. In today's video, we're going to cover Nano Dimensions, our favorite 3D printing company, and what's been going on with them over the last probably 5 days going into next week. So before we get started today, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, show YouTube you love the content, and share the video with a friend. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. That being said, let's talk about Nano Dimensions. So as I just sort of covered, over the last 5 days, we've seen Nano Dimensions go down about 12%. And this has a lot to do with the fact that they did not proceed with the takeover offer, or sort of the proposition to replace the board of directors of Stratasys with the sort of directors of Nano Dimension. That didn't pass through, so they withdrew their offer. And what we've seen is the price of Nano Dimension stock has come down, but also the price of the Stratasys company has also come down about 10-11%. Remember, they were offering $25 cash per share if their terms and conditions were met. Also, Nano Dimension said that, hey, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to sell our stake in the company too. So I'm not sure if they sold it yet. I don't think they have. But a lot of the Stratasys investors saw this and said, hey, why am I going to hold this company if I know that I think 10-ish% of the shares are going to be sold off in the coming weeks? So they try to get ahead of it, right? Now, here is the additional wrinkle that's going on. So you remember how Nano Dimensions was coming into Stratasys and saying, hey, we got to replace their board of directors. Well, in an ironic twist of fate, this is like a coup de grace, right? What happened is now Murchison is taking action to replace the board of directors at Nano Dimension. You can't make this stuff up. It's so ironic because Nano Dimensions was doing this to Stratasys. Now Murchison is trying to do that at Nano Dimensions. Given that we have our upcoming meeting on September 7th, they're actually sort of advising that they are going to submit a proposal for the company where we're going to ask to change that leadership, right? This company, Murchison, currently holds 6% of the outstanding shares of Nano Dimensions. And, I don't know the technicality of the Israeli laws and everything else, but as part of that proposal, the replacement or removal of all members of the board of directors, including those who are not up for re-election, the election of appointment of 5 new independent and experienced director nominees. So they got names here: Karen Sarid, Robert Pons, Philip Borenstein, Timur Arbel, and Ophir Barav. It's hard to pronounce these names. And then basically amending the company's articles of association to drastically improve the governance given the declassification of the board. So here's what Murchison had said. At the special meeting convened by Murchison on March 20th, Nano Dimension shareholders were sent a clear message that change was urgently needed on the company's board. In response, Yoav Stern and Nano Dimensions have taken every possible step to ignore the will of shareholders and further entrench themselves. It's like literally like they could be copying and pasting that letter that was sent to Stratasys, right? These actions have included wasting shareholder capital by refusing to acknowledge the outcome of the vote, filing frivolous lawsuits against Murchison and other significant investors, and waging an irrational dead-end campaign to acquire Stratasys. This is hilarious. It's incredible. Like this is so ironic. Kind of drama that we're seeing here, given that Nano Dimensions has remained resolute in its desire to disenfranchise its own shareholders. We've been forced to put forth proposals to effectively replace the entire board at the upcoming annual meeting. In our view, the only way to reverse the status quo of terrible governance and value destruction is to install independent directors who collectively possess the relevant 3D printing, technology, industry, operating, strategic, financial planning, mergers and acquisitions, and governance expertise and experience. There's a lot more stuff here. Basically, they're saying, hey, look, just do what we say and, give us a new board of directors. And maybe they're going to throw in their trump card too and say, hey, if you don't get this done, we're going to take out 6% of our shares packing. So I'm not as sold on whether or not Nano Dimensions needs to replace this board. Maybe they do. I don't know enough. I know Yoav Stern really should be credited with this company still being alive because he locked in that liquidity when the stock was going up, right? If we take a look, once again, I bring this up every chance possible. At one point, Nano Dimensions had a share value of around $15, maybe even higher. Where is it? That's 2017, or right here. Okay. Sorry, I just got to zoom in so you guys on YouTube can see it. So over here, we're looking at peak prices of $17.83. All the way up, all these red candles were Yoav Stern issuing share dilutions to lock in that value onto the balance sheet, save that equity. Obviously punish short-term traders and investors, but long-term protect the company. And it's been that wealth that has allowed them to parlay into mergers and acquisitions. Since then, obviously with the bear market, we've just seen this company completely sell off. It looks like pretty much every pump and dump, not saying that it is, but this is something they're doing to currently build the organization. Now, as you can see over here, Nano Dimension had dropped to the low $2 range in early June, right? Remember, this is despite inflationary fears sort of being subsided, a non-factor with sort of the debt ceiling and it obviously being renewed. But when the whole thing around Stratasys came out, investing in other companies, doing another potential hostile takeover, the company's value almost 1.5x or went up 50%, right? And now, given all this is going on, that takeover bid kind of got declined, the conditions weren't met, what's going on now with Murchison and sort of their lack of confidence in the company, the stock is cratering. And we really, really need to see something positive on August 21st when Nano Dimensions will be announcing their next quarter earnings. This is probably like the catalyst that will determine what happens on the September 7th meeting, right? We have no idea. It's hard to tell, right? Dragonfly is a very expensive piece of equipment. The margins aren't that great on it, and they haven't really had good enough equipment sales, and they've had to really rely on the rest of the organization. Another thing that I don't really have the source for on here, but Yoav Stern has also liquidated a component of his shares. He did a swing trade. Like he bought shares at a much cheaper price and he sold some of them. He didn't sell all of them. So like I want to make sure that people here don't just go, hey, Yoav Stern's out. No, he spent his own personal money to invest in the company and he's taking profits. It's one of the things I always recommend that you guys as viewers of the channel do. If you were swing trading and you were buying shares at the $2 range, I really hope that you took some profits when Nano Dimensions went up 50%. If not, in future opportunity, in future times when this could come up again, consider doing that, right? Remember, not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You got to do your own research, but this does not look good for Nano Dimensions. We really are banking on a very solid August 21st earnings report. That being said, make sure you like, subscribe, follow me on YouTube, check out the free public Discord, consider joining the memberships, and until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.